Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my latest YouTube video. As I told you guys, every Tuesday night for throughout the fantasy season, I am going to be giving you guys my top waiver wire targets of the week, as well as my top streamable defenses of the week. I'll explain to you guys how each of these sections will work for you. If you did watch any of my videos from last year when I talked about waiver wires and streamable defenses, it's going to follow the exact format. So at first, I'm going to start with my top waiver wire targets. Just so you guys know, I'm going to give you my top quarterback target of the week, my top running back target of the week, my top wide receiver target of the week, my top tight end target of the week, and my top flex tight end of the week. And before I unveil those names, I do want to let you guys know these players I'm going to talk about, they are available in at least 50% of the leagues on Yahoo. That way I am kind of it's a challenge for myself to find some names that maybe aren't as common on these waiver wire, like other videos and articles that you may be reading. These might be names that you're going to be looking for in deeper leagues, like in 10 to 14 team leagues. And yeah, so basically I'm trying to give you guys a variety of names that you might not have heard somebody mention over this past like day and a half as week one came to an end. But yeah, let's just go ahead, unveil my top waiver wire targets. I'm gonna start at the quarterback position. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the guy Carson Wentz. Carson, he did put up some numbers this past week against the Jaguars. He had 313 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Now, he did do Carson Wentz things, and he had the 2 interceptions, but the thing about fantasy football, those interceptions only count for a minimal points when your quarterback is throwing for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I look back when Jameis Winston had his 30 touchdown, 30 interception year, Jameis Winston was still a good fantasy quarterback. So even though Carson Wentz is not the best quarterback in the league, he's still a viable streamable quarterback for you, especially if you guys did lose Dak Prescott due to an injury this past week. Another thing with Carson is he does have the legs. Now, he didn't really do much with his 6 rushes. He only got 12 yards, but he did try to, pick up some yards with his legs 6 times against this Jaguars defense this past week. And the other thing this week, why I think he's worth a pickup, I view him more as, I don't know if he's going to be a long-term answer necessary for you at the quarterback position, but if you, like I already just said, if you lost Dak Prescott and you're looking for a quarterback to play this week, I would look towards Carson Wentz because they're playing the Detroit Lions, and we did just see what Jalen Hurts and a guy like A.J. Brown did to that secondary against the Lions this past Sunday. So I think Carson Wentz is a good streaming option for anybody that's looking for a quarterback this week. My next running back out of the week, it's Jamal Williams. He's available in 53% of the league, so he's right around that 50% barrier. But when you look at what he did in a backup role, he had 11. He didn't really get a lot of yards. He just had 11 rushes, 28 yards, and the 2 touchdowns. He had 1 reception for 2 yards on 2 targets. Now, the reason why I think he's an ad, it's mainly if you are a DeAndre Swift owner. If DeAndre Swift is on any of your teams and you have a spot on your bench, a player on your bench that you really don't trust, I really think you need to go get your handcuff in Jamal Williams. And then if you're a guy in the league and you don't have, or a guy or girl, and you don't have DeAndre Swift, you don't have DeAndre Swift on your roster, I'd still go grab Jamal Williams, because if Swift were to get hurt, which I hope he doesn't, I have Swift on like 2 or 3 of my rosters, but on those teams I did try to get Jamal Williams as much as I could back during the draft. He's going to all of a sudden be a quality flex or RB2 play depending on their matchup if Swift had to miss any time this season. This week they are going against the Commanders. I don't think he's a guy you should be trying to pick up and insert in your lineup, but like I mentioned, he's a guy that I would pick up and stash on my bench, especially if you're a Swift owner, or if you really don't like your running back depth, I would at least add Williams just in case something happens to Swift, and like I said, all of a sudden you got a good flex or RB2 play for you. My wide receiver ad of the week. I'm going with Robbie Anderson, the Panthers wide receiver. He's available in 90% of the leagues. This past week against the Browns, he had 5 receptions for 102 yards, a touchdown, and he did that at 8 targets. I'm sorry, on 8 targets. And the reason why I like that is when I'm looking for wide receivers to potentially add on my team, I want them to get at least, like, at minimum 7 to 9 targets a week, because that's when I think you could kind of trust them as like a wide receiver 3, maybe flex play within your lineup. And one stat I did see that came out of that game, for all the wide receivers on the Panthers roster, there was only 3 players that got snaps. It was DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Shi Smith. And the backups like Rashard Higgins and, man, I'm forgetting the other backup's name there in Carolina. Forgive me on that. They didn't even take a snap within the offense. So Robbie Anderson is locked in that number 2 spot on the depth chart. So he's going to get plenty of opportunity to see those 8 to maybe even 10 targets in some games. He's going to be that deep threat for Baker Mayfield. And he's a guy where right now I think he's definitely worth a spot on the bench. If maybe you're dealing with an injury to, like, maybe, you know, T. Higgins is having a concussion. I know there's some other wide receivers that are kind of banged up coming out of week 1. He's a guy where I think you could slide him as a wide receiver 3 or flex. They are playing the Giants this week, and, you know, the Giants don't necessarily have the best defense in the world. So I could see him getting those 8 targets again, and possibly putting up those same numbers. So he's a guy for me. Again, I would rather have him as a bench play, and then I insert in my lineup when the buys come around, or if injuries happen, or if he just has a really great matchup I want to take advantage of. My tight end ad of the week, I'm going with Hayden Hurst, the Cincinnati Bengals tight end. He's available in 90% of the leagues, and this past week he had 5 receptions for 46 yards. Now, tight end stinks. We all know it does. So what I look for in tight ends is if they're getting a lot of targets, and Hayden Hurst received 8 targets this past Sunday. Now, this is just one game, so we got to see if he's going to see this consistent target load week in and week out. This week, they are going against the Cowboys, and what I like about potentially streaming Hayden Hurst as a tight end this week is that, like I just mentioned, T. Higgins suffered that concussion, which might have led to why Hayden Hurst got those 8 targets this past game. If T. Higgins ends up getting ruled out and he has to miss this next game because of the concussion he suffered, man, I'm really thinking about, in any leagues that I'm trying to stream tight ends, of picking up Hayden Hurst and playing him against the Cowboys this week. And then you just want to monitor his targets, and if he can continue to get, for tight ends, I'm more looking for 7 to 9 targets a game out of my tight end if I don't have one of the elite tight ends, and I'm just praying that they get at least 50 yards and a touchdown, right? And then my last person of the week, I'm talking about Curtis Samuel as my flex ad of the week. He's available in 95% of the leagues. Now, rightfully so, a lot of people are probably going to be targeting Jahan Dotson, the rookie wide receiver in Washington. And rightfully so. He's a first-round pick. He's going to see plenty of action. But the reason why I listed Curtis Samuel over Jahan Dotson was when I looked at the targets and how much involved Curtis Samuel was. Now, when you look at Jahan Dotson, he had the 3 receptions, I believe, for 40 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he only had 5 targets. Curtis Samuel, he had 8 receptions for 55 yards, a touchdown on 11 targets, and then they use him as a running back at times too. He had 4 rushes for 17 yards. So just alone, he touched the ball 12 times. If he can get a reception on all 11 targets, he would have touched the ball 15 times. And then I kind of was like, wondering why he was involved so much. Then I forgot they gave him a good they gave him a good contract. You could argue if the contract they gave him was a bad contract overall, but they paid him money to come up to Washington a year and a half ago. And when you look at you go to overthecap.com, he has the 3rd highest cap hit on the team. They're paying around, I think, if I remember, $12 million to play football this year. So he's going to be involved. They invested money into him. So that's why he's got, I wouldn't say a prominent role, but looks like he's got a fixated role within the Commanders offense, at least to start the season. Which is why I would definitely pick him up the waivers. Now, I would not necessarily insert him in the lineup, even though I do like this matchup that the Commanders have against the Lions. I mean, unless I was dealing with a lot of injuries where I already had to play a Curtis Samuel in my lineup in week 2, he's a guy I wouldn't mind, if I don't like my wide receiver depth, to pick him up, put him on my bench, and then if he continues to get like 10 to 15 touches a game, you're talking about a guy that you can insert in your flex or wide receiver 3 spot week in and week out. Now, you want to see him do more with that, like, because otherwise the touchdown basically saved his day. But again, I think he would be more of a good short-term play over Jahan Dotson, just because I think because of the amount of money that they're paying him to play football this season, they're going to feed him as much as they can before maybe he does break down, because he does have his injury history that comes with him. Again, my quarterback ad of the week, Carson Wentz. He's available in 87% of the leagues. My running back ad of the week is Jamal Williams, available in 53% of the leagues. My wide receiver ad of the week is Robbie Anderson. He's available in 90% of the leagues. My tight end ad of the week is Hayden Hurst. He's available in 90% as well. And then Curtis Samuel, who is available in 95% of the leagues. All right, guys, moving into the last section of the night. For those that have been following me for a long time on my fantasy football content, you guys know I just stream defenses. I'm not afraid to drop a great defense if I don't like that great defense's matchup, to go pick up a defense for a favorable matchup. So this is something I've been doing every year, where I give out people my top streamable defenses. Now, I will say this, there are some better matchups out there, but again, the defenses I've chosen for this section, they're available in at least 50% of the leagues on Yahoo, so that means that they should be out there in most leagues that you play in. My top defense that I'm definitely looking to stream this week is going to be the Bengals against the Cowboys. Like I mentioned earlier, Dak Prescott is out for the foreseeable future, and there looks like they're going to be playing Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush does not scare me at all as a quarterback, and even when Dak was in there, that Cowboys offense did not look that great against that Tampa Bay defense. So you're talking about a defense that I think could definitely create some sacks with like guys like Trey Hendrickson up front, and then I definitely could see a guy like Jesse Bates or Chidobe Awuzie in the back end of the defense, maybe getting an interception or two on Sunday. My second streamable defense of the week, I'm definitely going to go with the Browns against the Jets. It's a pretty simple pick. Jets are always low-hanging fruit when you're looking for a streamable defense to play. Browns are available in 72% of leagues. And then you're looking at the Jets offensive line, which is going to struggle, especially when they're going against Myles Garrett. He just dominates things up front. And then maybe a guy like, a Greg Newsome, a Grant Delpit in the back end can get you guys an interception or two. I just think that, the Jets are the Jets. That, as sad as it is, it just doesn't seem like that franchise is ever going to get better. They just have a bad luck. So anytime I see the Jets on the schedule and the defense is available that's playing them, those are going to be the defenses most of the time I'm looking to stream. My third streamable defense of the week, I'm going to go with the Steelers against the Patriots. The Steelers defense is available in 68% of the leagues. Now, obviously, it hurts that TJ Watt is going to be out for like the next month or so, but they still got a guy like Cam Hayward out up front. Alex Highsmith definitely stepped it up this past week. They got Miles Jack in the middle of the defense, the turnover machine, and Minka Fitzpatrick in the back end. And then they're going against this Patriots offense, which, man, it did not show a lot of promise throughout the preseason. And if you base anything off of week 1, it's nothing that's really going to scare you. So this is a defense where I think they can be able to get those sacks and get the pressure on Mac Jones. And if they can get that pressure on Mac Jones and make him think fast and make him force the ball out of his hands, that's when a guy like Mika can jump on a route and get you a pick 6 and maybe get you even a touchdown out of the defense that you're streaming this week. My number 4 streamable defense, I am going to go with the Commanders against the Lions. They're available in 89% of the leagues. And this one's purely just because they're playing Jared Goff. The Lions were like this little heartfelt story entering the year, and they could still definitely be competitive. I mean, they almost came back against those Eagles. But in the last game, Jared Goff did Jared Goff things. He threw an interception. I know he fumbled the ball. I can't remember if he lost it or if he recovered, but either way, he fumble the ball, because that's what Jared Goff does throughout games. So when you play a quarterback like that, you kind of want to bet on that. And then the Commanders, they still got some work to do on their defense, but if you're like in a 12 or 14 team league, you're looking for a defensive stream, I definitely would look Washington's way this week. My last defense, again, this is maybe a deeper league play, 12-14 team league play. I'm going with the Panthers against the Giants. The Panthers are available in 96% of the leagues. Now, this is a couple things. The Panthers defense has some playmakers to me on it. You know, they got a guy like Brian Burns who's awesome off the edge. He can get you guys those sacks. Jeremy Chin's a great safety. CJ Henderson, hopefully he's taking his next step in year 3. And they got a nice J.C. Horn. They got a nice like young trio of cornerbacks. So, and then you look at the team they're playing now. The Giants had that awesome go ahead score and beat the Titans last week. But Daniel Jones was doing Daniel Jones things just like Jared Goff does. Daniel Jones had a fumble and he threw an interception. So when you play a quarterback like that, when the Giants are still a young team, still a work in progress, I'm definitely willing to roll the dice on the Carolina defense and see if I can get a turnover or two, and the Giants not putting up that many points. So again, my top 5 streamable defenses for this week: Bengals against the Cowboys, Browns against the Jets, Steelers against the Patriots, Commanders against the Lions, and the Panthers against the Giants. So yeah, that is my first waiver wire and streamable defense video of the year. As always, guys, if you enjoy my video, hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I just want to keep on building this channel as much as I can. And then, as always, go tell a friend. If you got a friend that loves fantasy football, come tell them to check me out. We can all be friends here. I know everybody's in competition. And then other than that, you guys will be seeing me again for my starts and sits video. I will be, as I did last week, I'll be releasing those videos first thing on Thursday morning, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, make sure you go follow me on Twitter at CodyTalksNFL. I'm more active on there than any other social media platform. Well, I am active on Instagram, but I don't really do that much. Not a lot of NFL stuff on there. But yeah, make sure you go follow me at CodyTalksNFL. That's my @ on Instagram, Twitter, and one of these days I might finally make a TikTok. But go follow me, guys, on those platforms. If you have any questions, any fantasy related questions, get in my comment section. I'll reply to you. Shoot me a DM, a text, shoot me a tweet, and I'll get you guys any advice I can get for you this season. I'll talk to you guys later.